Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scouser Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser. Anan is here. You can tell from the microphone and the sound. Anan is with us this morning, and our usual gang of a Friday on a Wednesday. With John out of the asylum now. What's going on?
Out of the asylum for now, considering everything that's going on in terms of transfers, in terms of Romeo Lavia. I don't know how long, but for now, out of the asylum. So I'm good, I guess. I guess.
Let's do my morning tea or coffee thing with the sound I got thrown out, but I do have the coffee this morning. So do you have the coffee, John?
I do, a really tall mug. Like I said, I'm trying to cope.
And Anan is with us, with Tiago in the background, where he's looks like he has like an ear infection injury.
It's
or
Darwin.
Like that. Is that what that is back there?
That's Darwin.
Was that Darwin?
Yeah, it's
It looks
Darwin
like
season.
Tiago from you. First of all, I was shocked. I figured it was Tiago. That's why you had it.
The assumption, I respect the assumption because it makes total sense that it would be Tiago. But I am pushing the agenda for Darwin season, so we're only sticking with Darwin now.
And you're a tea guy, correct?
I am a tea guy.
Do we have tea? Can you prove that you're a tea guy?
You know what? We have a water this morning.
So you can't prove you're a tea guy.
I was so tired of you yelling at me for not being 5 minutes early. So I didn't make my tea, and I was here 6 minutes early.
Yeah, for those of you, like, our pre-show fist fights, most manage to struggle online around like 5 to 10 minutes early. Unless you're Bickler, where you just like walk in as like the music is playing or something like that. But Anan does usually his best Bickler. Everybody's here this morning. Morning, you beautiful bastard, says Ryan. And good morning. Chris is here to fight. I don't know who's going to fight. I am just way too tired to fight. And it sounds like John is extremely tired to fight.
I'm ready. I'm good. Let's go, Chris. Let's do this.
And apparently, Lavia deal will be done on Monday, says Cersei.
Is it Wednesday now?
I saw.
So not this weekend, Monday.
It could be Monday next year, eh?
Well, I read this morning they're like Southampton is in the selling mode, right? They're like, who wants, you get a player, you get a player. The Ward-Prowse, I think I saw the Memento going to Newcastle yesterday. That became official. Yep. So, Southampton is doing deals, baby. So it is our time, John. So Monday, says Cersei, are you buying this Anan? Monday is Lavia our player.
We aren't buying nothing. If it was free, Liverpool would be like, we'll give you -$7, But listen, I think it is going to happen. I think it'll be before Monday, just because of the pressure and everything that's happening in the club right now. I'd say by this weekend, we'll have a Paul Joyce kind of tweet that says there's an agreed deal. Maybe it'll be announced and made fully official on Monday. But I say within the next 24 to 48 hours, we'll hear some good news. Because Southampton have reached that, okay, these guys they want to move, we'll sell. We'll get our guy this weekend. Maybe it'll be official and hold the jersey on Monday. But the next 24 hours.
I feel like if you really go, like if there's a signing on Monday, that usually tells me the game on Sunday did not go very well. So I'm hoping it gets done before then. They're like, holy shit, this midfield, and then the deal gets done on Monday is what I will be afraid of. But.
And I'd like it to happen before the game so he can attend the game, kind of go in the stadium, have a seat, the fans go crazy, the cameras go on. That kind of injects the new players with like a push, and it gives the fans the idea of whatever the hell happens on the pitch, that new guy's up there, so everything is going to be all right.
See, I like that scenario where like Lavia is in the building kind of a thing, like he's watching from the stands saying, holy shit, how am I going to play here? We'll see. Southampton manager saying Lavia isn't leaving this week. I don't even know why he would care personally, because the dude doesn't play anyway. Like he did not play on yesterday's game. He was not on the squad, and that was kind of like a huge ordeal. I don't know if it was for us necessarily, because we were talking, we didn't care if it was like cup tied or anything like that for the League Cup, but the fact that he didn't play, mind you, they lost as well, but the fact that he didn't play, it feels like the head is turned. The dude wants to come to Liverpool. It's just a matter of getting it done. Chris says it should have been freaking done. This is becoming a joke, which I do agree. Because we are so freaking like it's too close to be a conversation, and that's what I guess annoys me. It's almost like who's going to blink first. If we said 20, they said 50. We're like, holy shit! Okay, I didn't realize that. And you walk out the store. But when you're only like a couple of million away, we're like, how about this and this ring that my grandfather gave me, and that like we're just trying to make some kind of a weird deal to get. I'm sure it's a lot about like how much money is up front and all that kind of stuff. But taking so much longer to do the next bid and stuff like that, who do you blame in this saga than John? Like, why is it taking so long? If this is the guy we identified to buy, is this on the sporting director ultimately?
I think it's a combination of both, because I feel like the sporting director, sure, like Club says his guy, like picks his guy. The sporting director comes in, tries to negotiate with Southampton for whatever deal, but he knows what money he's going to be, what money he's equipped with up front. So if the owners or whoever says that, oh, we only got 47, we can only give you 47, that's all he could work with. And sure, like people are saying, oh, it should have been done quicker, like me included, but I got a feel for Schmadke. I don't know if I pronounced his name right, but if he's given
good, man, my German is rubbing off on you. Go ahead.
if he was given 48 and Southampton want 50, like what can he do? He can come back and talk to them over and over and over again, right? But what can you do, right? So we won't know 100% what happens behind the scenes. So sure, it's easy to blame him, but I only feel like he can only do so much with what he's given. So if he was given less than the valuation, then that's a tough answer. So
if he's not given the money, then why is he still in there? I mean, you walk into a store, they ask for 1,000, you only have 800 in your pockets. You can go around and around in the store as much as you want. The price is still going to be 1,000, and if you don't have the money, then get the hell out. Go to a store where you can use your 800. I guess that's my frustration. It feels like he comes around and he says, right, how about 800 and I made you a sandwich? Like, it doesn't work like that. Either you increase the bid. I think it's just a matter of us waiting for Southampton, Anand, maybe to say, you know what, that's right, that's fine. He doesn't want to stay here anyway. But is it worth it to save 4 million or 6 million?
And I'm gonna quote you from our last Friday show.
Whoa, time out.
We can't be
as
doing
you
that.
said last time. No, but listen.
Who's recording this shit?
I'm gonna quote you. The 5 extra million or 10 extra million are almost worth it just to get him early for preseason so he can train with the guys. Listen, just that is worth the extra 5 million or the 10 million. Who do we blame? I'm going to be that guy, and I have never been that guy, but FSG ultimately is the person to blame because our sporting director does the job, negotiates, but what's he going to negotiate? He's not shopping with his own pocket. He's negotiating with what he was given. And FSG are trying to pull a fast one, kind of. Oh, Southampton, no offense, right? Americans, they don't understand the system of the league of how soccer works. Oh, isn't that team that got relegated? We'll give them $20 million and they're going to sell everybody. That's how they're thinking about this.
Nice little Southern accent you put there.
Thank you. So, and the guy, and what's funny? They're not even Southern. I don't know why I did that.
That's why I did. Okay.
But like they're thinking, oh, this is a team that got relegated. We can buy their players for 20 million. So what if they value at 50? We'll give them 30. And it's becoming a joke. We look funny. I mean, I get on Twitter and all the memes are just Liverpool. And it's the funniest thing ever. They're just Liverpool bargaining, and they're just like, there's as a Middle Eastern, we like to bargain. You walk into a dollar store and like, how much is this? They're like $1. Like, Habibi, 50 cents. Like, no, it's not how it works. It's $1. Come on, for me, I'm your cousin. We do that, right? And all the jokes in Arabic are now, they've got like club and all like the Liverpool staff dressed as Arabs and bargaining. Come on, Habibi, give me a better price. And ultimately we became that kind of a joke. And that's not good. If you're going in and you want to compete and no, I know. Okay, thank you. I know.
Matusha over there being super technical.
We want to compete with City on the pitch and off the pitch, and doing this over £2 million or 3 million. Goodness me, this is gonna be a hell of a ride this season. I'm telling you guys.
That's the thing. I was like, when I heard this, that's funny because like I guess it must be a cultural thing. Because the first thing I thought of is the Grand Bazaar, like making like all these sales guys, and then if you go as a tourist there, or if you like when I last went there, like we were there with my wife, and I was like I'm the tour guide saying like, you never give them what they want.
Yeah.
You always offer half, and then they'll come down and stuff like that. And then you go to the. But here's the thing, and this is what you do in the Grand Bazaar. If the dude over there doesn't meet your price, you're like, that's fine, man. We're gonna keep looking.
Right.
And the guy says like, no, come back. And then you kind of like make a deal, or you go to the other store, come back and say, this guy gave me this. We're not even doing that. We're staying in the same store. We're saying it's 800. The guy is saying 1,000. This is what my thing. This is why I don't think it's. I put it on.
Like, you know what? You don't give me
$800, and your order is changing. How about 800? No. How about 799 plus one? Like, no, it's still 800, dude.
Like, and you don't want to walk out. Come on, no. Come on. I know you want it.
I can imagine Klopp just standing there on like near closing time, like, oh, I'm here all night. I'm here all night.
And I think the problem is that's the only store that has this guy, and I realize that. But then it goes back to, I think Chris was saying, we're going to be at the end of the season. If this costs us, because this guy's going to come in late, if he walks in on Monday, like Sir Z says, he's not playing for the first 2-3 weeks, right? And if we lose some points and we have some tough games, if you lose some points and at the end of the season you lose Champions League by like 2-3 points or something like that, you're going to look back over here and that would have paid for his entire thing, leave alone the difference. And I think that's like my biggest concern. I think it is another thing. Yeah, I mean, Ryan says, fucking go for it, spend the goddamn money. And that's the thing. Let's just do it. Here's another thing. And I know Chris was mentioning Edwards and stuff. Is it because we normally, a deal pops up, we do the deal, and it's done? Honestly, rarely a deal happens when it's talked about this long. Like, whenever we're linked with a player for like a month, we never get that guy. You never hear from that guy again. You never get that guy, and he disappears. And the guys that we get are usually within 48 hours or something like that. That's the only thing that scares me of this. Right. But does that, again, go to the sporting director, where you find the targets, you go for the targets? And I realized, John, that we walked in to Southampton's office and they're like, you guys need the CDM, don't you? Is what they said, because everybody in the world knows that we need a CDM right now.
Right. Yeah, it's really tough for the sporting director. I mean, like, even if he wanted to get this done, like what Adnan and I are pointing out, like, what does he have to work with? Like, Southampton has 50, and then if he can only give 48, 49, like, no matter how many times he comes back in there, no matter how many times he tries to wait until the shop closes, they're not gonna sell it to us. So I think Liverpool are playing the long game, but to your point, Tim, it's not going to be beneficial for us, because if we drop those first few, if you drop points during those first few games, that's the league gone. That's the league gone, and that's why I made a statement during the last two shows that we had, that we have to lower our expectations, because we start off bad, we lack some players, and we drop points. That's pretty much it. So given that this is the route that we considered to take during this summer, I really feels like it rubs off on the whole team, which we're going to talk about. Van Dijk mentioning to the press a lack of signings. So we're going to talk about that soon.
Yes, we'll get to that headline. I do want to Ryan says, I doubt you guys will mention this. Challenge accepted. We're mentioning it. But thoughts on Mario playing CDM? Like Super Mario?
It's me, Mario.
It's me, Mario.
Look, that's a 9 out of 10 impression, let me tell you. That's perfect.
Which Mario? I'm confused now. So Ryan has to explain that, because I accepted the challenge. I mentioned it, but Matip. Okay, there we go.
Matip.
Okay. Very different people. Super Mario, Matip. Very different people.
The only thing with Matip, and I know somebody had mentioned the fact that Matip also corrects the Mario every time. Don't be protecting Ryan here, Matush. But I think, I read it a couple of places, and I've seen in the Discord chat that he did play CDM at one point. But I think it's different to play CDM in different systems. In this system where your front is pressing like crazy, it's kind of like a different role in terms of you got to be able to step up to the ball a lot faster, I think, as opposed to a regular CDM where you're kind of like more playing like a sweeper role, sliding laterally from side to side. I think this CDM position is a lot more demanding in terms of playing that. I mean, Tush says he played CDM 25 years ago. I mean, in terms of like, he probably knows what has to be done and he's good on the ball and all that kind of stuff. And obviously he has the size. I just don't think he has the quickness to play CDM in this system. He can probably go to another team and play CDM where the people in front of him are nowhere to be found because they're pressing. So he has to push up a lot more. And by the time he turns around and comes back, I honestly thought in this last season, that's where Fab was really struggling. He was slow to get to where he's supposed to be. And then by the time he turned around and started chasing down, it was too late. Where do you guys stand on that? Anan, let's start with you on that one.
Absolutely not.
For Mario.
No more Band-Aids. No more Band-Aids. I am sick and tired of us just putting Band-Aids on our problems. No. Yes, I'm sure Matip can do it. But yeah, James Milner was able to do it. Trent did it. Curtis Jones did it. You know what? Anybody we have is going to be able to do it if they're told to do it. But I don't want that. I want a guy who's dedicated to playing that position. I want a number 6 who we can use for the season and for the future. So a 19-year-old Lavia, whoever it is, that's what I want for the club. I am not going to, start playing kind of jigsaw. Take this piece over here, put that piece over there. Listen, in case of an emergency, I'll take it. But no, this should not be an emergency. We've had all summer. We still have a few more days. We can get the deal done. And listen, and I know you guys are going to laugh. Worst case scenario, there's Thiago and there's Bajcetic until we get the right person. But I'd rather have Thiago there because he can win the ball and play a long ball, make a pass. Same thing with Bajcetic. Matip takes the ball, head down, and just runs forward, and it's the funniest thing ever, and I love it. But that's also very risky because he likes to take risks with the ball. That could also jeopardize our back four when he's in front of him, when he decides, it's my time now to be a Mario and go up front. And then we just never see him again. So
I like how we covered the autocorrect to poor Matip being called Mario. But
yeah,
I think with Matip, and honestly, if in-form Matip with an inverted Trent could be deadly attacking-wise. I actually like having Matip over Konate in games where we're playing against a team at home who's like sitting deep because he can't take advantage of that space. If they close up, I mean, we saw it a lot last year where they were trying to make sure the ball doesn't get to Trent and closing Trent, and Konate had all freaking day. I'd rather have Matip out that time because he is good with the ball and he can take that space and cause some chaos in between the lines, cause people to shift around and stuff. But I mean, I'm assuming, like Ryan is asking tongue in cheek in terms of like a temporary ordeal anyway, because obviously if he becomes CDM, we have no freaking CB to cover him. John, first week, I think Sir Z was saying in the comments that Mecca starts as CDM. Who is starting as CDM? Like after watching Monday's game, which sounded like Mecca played by, not by choice because Curtis couldn't go like an extended minute.
Right.
Do you think that's just like we see that and be like, holy shit, this worked a lot better and put McAllister there? Or we're like, nope, from the beginning is the Klopp stubbornness. I said Jones, let it be said, let it be done.
Well, if temporary basis or makeshift basis because Jones was injured, he looked really good there. Let me just say, like, sure, people are going to talk about how the opposition was quite not at the level we'd be taking on during the Premier League, but he could have easily stunk up the place, and he didn't. Like, his passing because the space he's given at that position and his passing vision was so good. I was just like, he reminded me of, I don't know if you guys remember during our first Champions League run when I think it was Henderson who was injured or someone, and Wijnaldum had to play the 6 against Man City. And everyone was like, "Oh, damn, we're screwed." Even though we had a 3-0 lead, coming into the second leg, and Wijnaldum played really well. I think McAllister might give shades of that in terms of like his performances at the 6. I think it's not his favorite position, but he can do a really good job there, as shown. Like, I think, sure, physically he might struggle because he's not the tallest guy, he's not the strongest guy. But in terms of if we have him on the ball, it works really well. And, Gakpo, like to transition to, his side of the field, his position, Maka's position. Gakpo filling that role isn't too bad as well. Like, he looked really good. As I keep saying with Cody Gakpo, it's like you could plug him anywhere and he'll do a 7 out of 10. So, honestly, I have much more confidence putting McAllister at the 6 than Jones at this point. Even though we might not be maximizing him as much as we want there, it might be the option moving forward, until we get in a true DM. So, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that we have to be resorting to this, that we're not going to be maximizing one of our marquee signings, but the transfer market and the lack of signings has put us in this position. So,
I honestly feel like even if that's the midfield that we're going to start with with Jones, McAllister, Szoboszlai, I'd rather still have McAllister at the 6 and Jones where he belongs, where he's comfortable, where he was finally doing well, as opposed to trying to play him out of position. If somebody's going to play out of position, I think I'd rather have the more experienced guy do it.
Yeah. And we start the season against Chelsea. They've got a good-looking midfield. They've got Nicholas Jackson. He's been on fire in the preseason. So we're not playing against Duckstadt or what, we're playing against a team that's we're playing against a team that's out there to prove a point, with a manager in Poch who loves to play possession ball, who loves to play direct ball. So we're not playing a shitty side or a newly promoted team. So this is going to be a tricky one. So in a situation like this, I'd rather use the experience of McAllister, use him at the 6, and give Jones that freedom to create chances along with Szoboszlai, but not kind of say, okay, Jones, get up to 6, and then, at half we're losing 2-0 and we start shifting things again. No, I'd start strong, start with the experience, see what happens next. And again, Thiago, if he's ready, I would honestly prefer to have him at the 6, just because his tackling ability ahead of all the guys that we have.
Even with him not having played any game.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
How about you, John? You put his Thiago over there until he gets hurt?
Well,
the 7th minute.
I like Anand's idea as well, but it might be a bit too soon, because Thiago's tackling is good, I agree, but I don't know if he could keep up physically. Like, Chelsea's got some young...
Well, and that's the thing. I don't even know if he's fit.
Right, exactly. Like, Chelsea's got some young, fast dogs, man. And, having the DM trying to plug in gaps, run around and everything. I don't know if Thiago's got it in him during the first game of the season where he's barely played. Yeah, no, he's not barely played. He hasn't played in preseason at all.
He hasn't played since last year.
Right, right. So, you really
remember him,
I'm genuinely. Well, we're gonna be talking about the Chelsea match at some point, so I'll just save my talking points there. But yeah,
probably on Friday.
Yeah,
I figure we're on Friday. We'll figure the hell out of it then. But here's my thing: with Thiago at 6 over Jones, yes. The only thing I don't like about Thiago at 6 is he goes down too easy, and I don't mean on the ball. I think he slide tackles too easy, and if he misses that slide tackle. Yeah, he does his big eyes. Either he caused a foul, and then does the big eyes like, what did I even do? Or he's just totally out of position, because by the time he gets up, it's too late. I guess that's what I'm concerned. But having said that, I would still rather have him over Jones, because he's done it and he can control the game a lot better. And he's going to, he has the same issue as Jones, where he's going to try some stuff where he probably shouldn't. Like a little bit of overconfidence days. Chris was saying that we've never properly recovered from losing Gini Wijnaldum. The funny thing is, all these people now, not Chris, because I know, we used to talk on time back then and on air and stuff like that. But most people at the time who didn't appreciate that midfield are all complaining now because we don't have anybody what a boring midfield. They don't contribute enough goals and stuff. We were winning everything left and right. And, Gini, Milner, Henderson, Fab were like, these guys are boring. But we were winning every goddamn thing because we always had the ball. So let's go back to Van Dijk, what Van Dijk is saying. Van Dijk says, obviously, when a lot of players are leaving, of course, I could just put this on the screen and not have to read, right? So that's probably a lot better system here. Nobody wants to hear me read. But I'm going to read anyway, I guess. But he basically says at the end that I can understand some people having doubts. He's talking about there are only 2 incomings and the way we have been playing. So, are the doubts over there that he's mentioning? Because, obviously, I don't know the rest of the conversation. This, to me, almost knowing Van Dijk finishes off with him saying, but we'll prove him wrong. He's not like, yeah, man, we're in deep shit kind of a thing. But, John, what do you take out of that? Is that him basically saying more so? Because I read that as he's saying Yeah, I can see why people are worried, and we know we need to do better. But I'm not worried.
I think he like at the back of his mind, he knows that there are some concerns. Like he's been in title winning teams, Champions League winning teams, so he knows what it takes to win. So I mean, he's a very smart player. So I'm sure he could look at our squad and immediately identify the weaknesses. And I think that's him.
Ryan says, I read that as Verge wants Matip as CDM. Or Mario.
Verge would want Matip as a striker. He'd want Matip anywhere, man. It looks like he enjoys his company too much, if you know what I mean. but hey, like with what Verge is saying, I'm actually glad he just put this small caveat into this interview, because I think he knows what the squad is missing, and it's so clear in preseason what he's alluding to in terms of the style of play. For those who didn't watch the Darmstadt game, that goal that we conceded was absolutely ridiculous. You had Verge trying to play offside, and then Trent and Konate playing the dudes onside. I was like, what are you two bozos doing? I think it was Tim who mentioned that Verge is gonna be slapping that right side of the fence, and rightfully so. Yeah. Rightfully so. Like, what are you guys doing? It's like, let me just say, it's concerning that one solid, like, it wasn't even a good ball over the top. It was just like a decent ball in, and we were just it was literally 1-on-1 with the keeper. So I could see where Verge is coming from, and I'm glad that he's he's not really being confrontational about it. He's just giving a slight hint into what the club might need. And this is something that you would want for your captain, addressing the weaknesses, talking about it. So I feel like he's confident, but he knows that there's a ceiling, and the ceiling isn't necessarily what the players would. It's not as high as the players would want it to be. Honestly,
I mean, the thing is, it doesn't even take anybody with any kind of knowledge to even point out like what we're missing at this stage. And I mean, if you picked a dude from here in the U.S. who knows zero about soccer and be like, "Hey, man, can you make me a depth shot real quick for Liverpool?" He's going to come back to you in 5 minutes and be like, so who am I putting over here as CDM? Because I don't see anybody as CDM. Yeah. So you don't have to know anything about the game or the transfer market or anything to say, this is what these guys are missing.
Yeah, and that's exactly why Verge said that. This is your new captain showing the fans, hey, I'm on the same page. I understand where you guys are coming from. I don't even think he probably is, but with that interview, it wasn't him sharing concern. Oh my God, we're panicking. No, it was just like, listen, the fans said this. Let me second what they said to show the fans that I'm on the same side as them. And whatever happens, happens, because he followed up with, I could understand. And I'm sure he later said, but don't worry, we're going to be okay. So this is a captain's way of earning some cookies or some brownies with the fans, just to show, yes, I feel you, I understand, and we got this. Kind of like a relax, take it easy, we're here. So I love it. I respect it. That's what I would have wanted from the captain, because I definitely wouldn't have wanted him to come out and be like, what are you guys talking about? Everything's okay. We're fine. No, that would be scary.
Yeah, I agree.
That would be a failure if we fail, but also accepting it is what it is. And he didn't come out and tell us it is what it is. He came out and said, I see where you guys are coming from. We got this. And I like it. I like it a lot.
And I think it's more like the captaincy I think you're going to get from Van Dijk, right? I mean, we talked about this before in terms of types of leadership. He's more we got this, guys, like calm presence.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Hendo would probably be like, we're going to fight. We're going to kick some ass. We're going to do this, because that's his method and style.
But
and
see, I feel like
to be like, we got this.
I feel like Hendo would have came out and was like, there is no problem. We're okay.
Yes, we just have to follow directions and implement better and stuff. Probably is what he would say.
Yeah.
It's just like different styles, like I say. But Klopp afterwards talked about, those balls are going to come through, the balls that you're talking about, John. And I think one of the reasons is I think Sir Z was saying Jones should be a backup to Sobo. I will probably catch a lot of heat for this, but I actually feel the other way around, at least in the beginning of the season, because I felt like as great as his corner kicks are, I don't know if you can do like an NBA type situational substitution, like whenever there's a corner kick, we put Sobo in there. As great as his like set pieces are, and for God's sakes, if he's on the field, nobody else should be anywhere near those corner kicks. Definitely not Robertson. But I felt like his pressing is still half a second behind. It will get there eventually because he has the efforts and the work rates. But I felt like John watching that game, he is in most cases the guy. He's a second too late, and I think it's like we saw that from Nunez last year, a second too late, and that's all it takes in the Premier League is a second to let them. He still looks like Thiago from here. I'm probably it's the glare or something, but you agree? Like you think Jones or Sobo? You think Jones should be Sobo's backup?
Yeah, you're right. You're gonna get a lot of heat for this, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I think the fact that whenever we played our strongest lineup, clubs putting in Soboslai right away is an indication that he is gonna start Soboslai regardless. But I understand where you're coming from, Tim. Aside from the corner kicks, right? I didn't think Soboslai looked particularly exceptional during that last game. I thought like he got a yellow, and that was a really bad challenge. Let me tell you. I want this guy to succeed like massively, but I do see where you're coming from. He's a little slow. The pressing, it's not just running up to a guy. There's a structure to it. There's a science to it. So I feel like, and this is what I was saying over the past few shows. These guys need some time to adjust. Right. And this is the problem with giving away, with letting Henderson, letting Fabinho walk, like regardless whether they wanted to go or not. Like this is the problem of losing two veteran midfielders and trusting our season on these new guys. Like it looks like between him and McAllister, it definitely looks like McAllister is the one who's more ready to just be thrown into the starting line, at least in my opinion. But obviously, I feel like Szoboszlai is going to come good, but there are going to be some growing pains, and I feel like whether this magnifies into something bad, we have to be patient with him, because I do feel like Klopp is going to throw him into the fire. I don't think Jones starts over him, Tim. I actually think that the lineup that we put in the first half against Darmstadt is going to be our lineup come Chelsea, with Gakpo playing in central midfield.
So I just hope that backline plays a lot better, man, because
right.
we play the way we played defensively against Chelsea, it will be hell. I think McAllister almost feels like a guy, maybe he plays better and more calm because he's used to the pace of the Premier League. Even though we're not playing against the Premier League side, we're playing ourselves at Premier League pace in terms of our passing and stuff. He looks a lot more comfortable, and obviously he's a lot more experienced guy, and he almost plays like a guy with a lot less to prove. I mean, you know what I mean? Like he already did in the Premier League. He's won the World Cup. I think there is some more confidence to that. Whereas Sobo plays a bit more like he's trying to prove that he belongs, and he's trying to kind of like what your boy Nunez did a lot of last year, like going out of the system or going out of his way to show how good he is. I mean, in all fairness, John, like when we were talking about like a month or two ago, seems like it was like a year ago, but starting lineup, I mean, we were like, knowing Klopp, it'll be Fab, Hendo, and then probably McAllister is what we were putting. Or it could even be Jones and stuff like that we were saying at the time. So now losing those guys obviously kind of hurts the stability. But where are you at with Sobo, Anand?
So I guess it's bold statement time, but I think he'll be the key against Chelsea. I think he'll be the key against Chelsea. He comes from a Leipzig team that, the team that relies heavily on pressing. They're heavy on pressing. They counter press. I mean, they're one of the quickest teams to press in Europe. So I'm not going to judge him based on preseason just because of fitness and everything going on. I do think against Chelsea, against like the likes of Enzo Fernandez, and in a game like that, this is a guy that'll benefit you because he's quick with the ball, he's quick without the ball, and he can play those long balls that'll just gonna slice your midfield and defense. I think he's the key in games like against Chelsea. In games where the midfield is stacked, you want Dom to get comfortable. So I'm not too worried about him. I actually am willing to make the bet right now that he is going to be man of the match against Chelsea.
Damn, man, he's like Mr. Bold prediction. So it's not going to be Nunez, you're saying?
He's going to score 7, but but he won't.
Sobo will have 8 assists.
Yeah. He'll have 8 assists. Yeah.
I mean, so apart from, let's go to the front then, right? I mean, we'll obviously do a full-blown prediction on Friday, but based on what you guys saw on Monday, John, who do you think should start or will start against Chelsea up front, the top three?
I think the right and the left are pretty much set in stone. Salah and Diaz start. The question is the middle. Now, I mentioned I liked Gakpo in midfield. I did mention like during in the Discord during the game, like he can be a 7 out of 10 there, but he is wasted there. I feel like he would benefit us more if he plays this is the false nine position because he's just so intelligent with the ball. But considering we lack options in the midfield, I actually wouldn't mind him there and start Jota in. The Jota's looked really good this preseason, and man, he gets a side of goal. That's it. That's a goal. I feel like we do need that, especially against Chelsea, where I feel like we're playing them away. They're going to have most of the ball, and then our chances might be limited, especially at the start of the game when we're just trying to, it's a first game of the season. Everyone's fired up. So I really expect us to be on the back foot early on. So we're going to have limited number of chances. Jota gets one good look. Bam, it's a goal. So I feel like it's Jota, Nunez, not Nunez, Jota, Diaz, and Salah. With Nunez coming in, whether we're in the lead or whether we're down, to just F things up, man. Like, I see Nunez being that super sub to just screw things over for the other team. Like, imagine, like, the game in the balance, like, we've pressured an opponent so much and they're, like, losing their legs, and then you bring in that absolute demon. That is just the ideal scenario. So
if he comes with the right mindset, I agree
right.
to that. If he comes with the right mindset, yeah. So a team that's barely hanging on, you see that crazy physical, fast dude coming off the bench, is probably like, God damn it. But if he comes in the mindset that I got to make a difference and kind of like almost plays out of the system more for himself, not in a selfish kind of way, but more to try to help kind of way, I think that's when he hurts himself. And that's why sometimes I don't like him coming off the bench, because I feel like he comes in with that mindset, as opposed to somebody like Jota coming off the bench, where he comes in, plays in the system, and he makes his impact regardless because of his finishing, like you were saying. So going back to that lineup thing, Anan, do you think we saw Jota? Because I agree with John. I mean, I'd rather see Gakpo up top. But then again, man, with Jota's form, it's kind of hard to take him out. Do you think that was just a way of us seeing if we can get best of both worlds by having them both on the pitch?
Yeah,
or
I
it's
think
just
so.
simply Jones isn't there, so we got to do something, and that's
No, I actually think it was, and I don't know if you guys recall a few shows ago, I said Gakpo can play that position. That's what he played for the Netherlands in the World Cup, so it makes sense. That is a position that Gakpo has played before. That's actually why we signed him. If we look at the World Cup, that was his position. He played there and he shined. The first 3 group games, 3 goals, then got an assist. So he can do it. And Jurgen's like, okay, Jones is out. Gakpo can do this. Jota's playing well. I can use them both, the best of both worlds. So I do believe that's what we'll see against Chelsea, because I think Jurgen put that lineup in the first half and he sat down. He's like, this is my first half, how I'm going to look against Chelsea. Let's see how it is. We could be wrong. We could be right. It's just a prediction here. But again, I'm the kind of person, I want Darwin to start. I want Darwin up front. And this isn't like, oh my God, because I like him. No, I think we can get more out of Darwin up front in a game against Chelsea when you got people who can cross the ball like Szoboszlai. You've got Trent that can cross the ball. Hopefully Robertson regains his, crossing and he can cross the ball. And then McAllister can put the ball in the box. We've got guys who can put the ball in the box. And we can finally use a target man that can be that fox in the box and get it. I love Jota, and I think he's been great. But for me, Darwin starts. Jota comes in when we're chasing the game, or when we need a guy who is going to get that one look on goal and score. But for me, Nunez starts just because I think that's where we can benefit more. Clearly, it's not going to happen based on what we've seen the last 2 games.
Jersey says.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Gomez will score before Nunez this coming season.
Talking about bold predictions.
That isn't bold. That's just, I'm not even going to. Just going to let it go.
As much as, like I say, I know you love Nunez, I just don't see him. Like I say, we're trying to see if we can get all these guys in. And notice we're not mentioning Nunez, well, except you. Nobody's mentioned working Nunez in there. Because Jota is in such good form. And I think he is the better presser, for one. And I think he's better at, like, interplay with, like Gakpo and stuff like that. I mean, those quick give and goes, I think, work with those 4 up top. Nunes is more like the target guy, and that's why I never understood the signing from the get-go. I thought we were going to change our style. That's why he was brought in. So I guess the hope is he's so young. We're hoping that he will be like a cross and almost like be an in-between, that target man who can also do the interplay and stuff like that with Mo, or down the road after Mo would change our style or something like that. But we'll go with that. Chris was talking about Chelsea. So Nkunku is out for an extended period of time. Initially, it was only a couple of weeks and stuff like that. Now he's out for an extended period of time. And I've been saying it for a couple of weeks now, because I do agree with Chris that they are still trying to kind of put pieces together. I still think this is the best time to play Chelsea right now, which makes me even more angrier that we're not going into it full force, because I feel like if we did, this would be a game. And honestly, 3 points away at Chelsea will look even better 10 weeks from now when Chelsea is playing better. I actually feel like Chelsea will play for the Champions League spots and be like the fourth at the end of the season. That's my prediction that I still have yet to enter. But where do you see, John, like Chelsea this year? Like, where do you see them? How do you see them starting? How do you see them finishing?
I feel like they're not going to start as well as they would like, but then they'd slowly get, like, they're slowly improved throughout the year. I really like Poch. I remember a few years ago saying, like, if Klopp leaves, I wouldn't mind Poch with us. Like, everyone, like, clowns him for not having any trophies under Spurs, but
Jota is the best natural scorer we've had since Fowler. Did Torres, like, die? Is Suarez
yes, I guess
no legs?
I was like, I know what he means in terms of like the recent era, but yeah, in between.
You got a guy named Mo Salah as well.
We literally, the guy's breaking Fowler's numbers.
Right.
I'm up.
You got a guy named Mo Salah.
You're just mad because he said Gomez is going to score before New Year.
Yeah, Anand's at his last.
I'm done.
Anand's about to leave the show.
I'm not going to finish like this.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought there because I got honestly taken back by Sir Z's comment.
Where do you think Chelsea finished the season?
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. So I do feel like they start off relatively shaky, as do all teams, bringing in a lot of players in. But I do like Poch. Like I said, I always like the idea of, if Klopp leaves, we bring in Poch. Like, say what you want about him not winning any trophies against Spurs, but he built a really good side there. I think he's a builder kind of manager, like Jurgen is. He starts off with a young group, then he builds them to an elite team, and I think that's exactly what he's got here at Chelsea. So I think, to your point, Tim, this is the perfect time to play them. I would not want to play them in at match week like 20 or 21 or something when they've had several wins of 4-0, like 3 straight 4-0 wins or whatever, and they're hot on form. So yeah, I do think they get better. I do think they end up challenging for a Champions League spot, and I definitely feel like that third or fourth position is going to be between us, United, them, and Newcastle. It's going to be a tough race. So yeah, probably Champions League hopefuls is where I see them finishing.
I gotta jump in. I'd rather play them. I'd rather play Chelsea week 20-25 when Lampard is their manager again, because I had to. Come on, it was a layup. It was an alley-oop. I couldn't pass it on. I think Chelsea's gonna start the season quite well. That's what the Poch does. He starts this way and then he does this way. So I think they'll start well. I won't judge them based on their game against us, because that's a game that both teams before the game are going to say, listen, this is a special circumstance. We got a really big game since the start of the season. This is a special circumstance. We got to do special things for this game. But as the season goes on, we'll go back to the normal stuff, whatever it is, whether it's the starting 11, whether it's the style. I mean, come on, Liverpool are playing against Chelsea in the opening of the Premier League season for both clubs. They're both not going to go out there and say, let's go all out attack and get 12 goals. Nunes and Jota, I want you to get goals. Chelsea's not going to do it either. Both teams are going to play very conservative football. And, both teams, this could be a 0-0. This could be a 1-1. Both teams are going to go win looking for the least amount of damage possible. Because, listen, if you drop points against old top 4, but beat all the other 15 teams, you're going to win the league.
Yeah.
It's the smaller teams, like the smaller teams, like the Manchester Uniteds, the Burnleys. These are the teams you don't want to drop points against. But the big teams, you're okay with drawing. You're okay with even losing one of those matches as long as you're winning the other games against this clubs that we tend to struggle against, the Nottinghams and the Bournemouths, like, the team where we were always like 1-1, 2-2, losing the leads last year, stupid stuff like that. So no, I think Chelsea's going to have an okay season, but I think we shouldn't judge either of those teams based on the way the season starts, just because it's a very special circumstance. It's a big game from the first moment of the season. And I know we're going to talk more about it on Friday, so I'm just going to zip it.
Cersei is really going at you, man. I'm loving this.
If we go well, if we want to win, then yes, he starts. But if we're going for
if we're going for a 0-0 tie, then yeah, just put them
then
in
yeah,
there.
yeah. But listen, Cersei, I love Cersei. I see him every week. I love Cersei. But if you think since Fowler we've only had one good striker and it's Jota, we got a problem.
Yeah, I agree that both teams, especially Chelsea, will not just be going at. I mean, here's another thing: if you're playing Liverpool, I think you kind of know the formula by now, right? And you don't want to just come crazy at us, especially if we start with the same lineup that we started against Darmstadt, with those four up top and Sobo as well. McAllister, who can pass through between the lines. Yeah, if you come at Liverpool, you're going to be hurting.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's probably what we want as a team, because it's looking like we want to win shootouts the way our defense is playing right now. Yeah. So a smarter way to go against us is probably parking the bus and going about it that way.
My vision for this season, if we don't make that DM signing, we don't get an extra center back, we could be having another one of those seasons where Suarez was going ham, scoring a bunch of goals. We were winning the games 4-3 and 4-2 and 5-4.
Who's the Suarez? Because I don't remember any strikers.
He came. Yeah, he doesn't score goals. Since Fowler, nothing. It was just like we were starting with 10, and then the number 9 is like nobody. Everybody go home. So we were winning 4-3s, 5-2s, 3-2s, 3-1s. We were conceding. But Luisito was like, okay, I got you. And he would go and he would score a couple. And then we would be like, okay, we're winning. So this could be one of those seasons where we concede a lot as long as we're scoring a lot. So listen, I'm worried.
I think our squad now is better than that squad, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Of course. We had Lovren starting in the back. I mean, they're
smack about Lovren over here. Of all people, you pick Lovren to talk smack about in that lineup. First of all, I don't think. I mean, as much as I love Niniole, I mean, every time we had a corner kick against us, it felt like there was a PK, and you were like as that ball came in the box and stuff. I think it was like a great teammate and a great dude, but God, man, on those crosses, he was horrible.
Yeah.
So
John
definitely
was our starting right back. Yeah,
definitely like this. Nelson says. City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Brighton. I think Bickler had a similar prediction on the Monday podcast, and I can see that really depends on what they lose going into
exactly.
If they lose Caicedo as well in Chelsea eventually
they got Europa football as well, right?
And they also have that I believe he's Japanese. I forgot his name. Mitoma. He might be leaving. Right. City, the talk is that City might be making a push for him to replace Mahrez. So they could be losing him as well. So I like Brighton. I like the Zabri. I think he's actually doing really great. I just don't see them because I've got Newcastle in there, right? You've got Newcastle. You've got Liverpool. You've got Arsenal. You've got Chelsea. All these teams that are trying to make their push for top 4. And then another club that nobody's talking about that I think finished the season wonderful last year is Aston Villa. I mean, what Emery's doing with that team is unbelievable.
Brentford and they signed some good names. Actually, it's just a matter of how. I don't know. Anytime they did this last year, right? But I have a lot more faith in Emery than I did with Gerrard, because when into the season we were like, how are these going to fit in? Is he going to be able to get him going? And obviously he couldn't. I have a lot more faith in Unai making that work. So they could be a dangerous team. I am going with what Chris is saying, though. City, us, Arsenal, Chelsea. He said they'll be the top in whatever order. I agree. I'm kind of putting us up top just because I'm a homer. But aside from that, I agree. I think that is the top 4. I think the biggest thing, I think you mentioned it with Brighton. And earlier, I think somebody was mentioning in the comments regarding Newcastle. Europe is a whole new animal for them, and it can, if you are not used to it, it can really take away from your season in multiple ways. One, more games you're playing, so the squad depth comes into play, and two, even for the fans, the Europe becomes such a big thing. I mean, let's face it, we've had this in the past too, right? Like when you're making that Champions League run, like you're so focused on that, and that gets like the atmosphere and everything in the stadium that, you kind of blow your load on a Wednesday or Thursday, and then the weekend comes, it's not the same energy in the stadium, in the squad, on the players and stuff, and it can really hurt your league performance there. But so tomorrow night, the Thursday podcast is back. I'm sure the boys will preview the hell out of it. Gally is going to be hosting that. Mecca should be back in action, but Trevor and Scott are going to be with him. So the Thursday night action is back. The Premier League action is back with Gally and Bickler. And then we're also going to have the panel Premier League show where we're going to have an Arsenal fan in the first week, I believe, too. So that should be interesting to hear their perspectives and stuff. But us three are going to be back on Monday. Will we be talking about our new signing, or will John go back?
Friday, no?
John, are you going to be back in your solitary confinements, or
are we back on Friday?
We are back on Friday. Friday.
Okay, so Friday, not Monday.
Oh, did I say Monday? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
yes,
that's
Monday
why we were both looking like, what?
That's why, like, John is looking confused too, and I was like, "What is going on, man? Just keep going." I thought my sound was off or something. So Friday morning, when we come back, I know Sir Z said it's going to happen on Monday, but will we be talking about a new CDM, or are we having the same conversation?
I'm back in the asylum.
You're back in the asylum.
For sure. Okay. For sure. Like, we're not getting him by then. I don't know. Honestly, at this point, I'm just looking forward to the Chelsea match. Whatever happens before that happens. I just want some Premier League football back in. I'm tired of all this transfer talk. Let's talk about actual football being played.
Yeah. I don't think we'll have him signed. I think we'll have the deal in place. Like I said earlier, it'll be like a Paul Joyce tweet, bid accepted now, but we won't see the guy until
scheduled or
something. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think on Friday I'll come in and be like, here's my new Lavia jersey and I'm ordering it. No, not yet. But I do believe we'll have at least better news than what we have now, because now it's like they said no 46, so Liverpool offered 46 and a sandwich. No, I think it'll be bid accepted. Moving forward, this is going to happen.
Sir Z says, ignore the Jota comment. But I still say, in honor of Sir Z, I want to see Fowler on that TV screen. So we can reminisce about the last time.
Yes. Yes. If Sergi, well done calling Sturridge. I think Sturridge, if he wasn't so injury prone, he would have been one of England's best strikers, period.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Walnut actually messaged me, I think it was yesterday or the day, like, I think Sturridge is going to be in one of these, like, Dancing with the Stars kind of show or whatever. And I was he'll be out by week 2. So he better get eliminated in week 1, because he'll pull something by week 2 and he'll be out for an extended
I do
time.
miss seeing him do the Sturridge, though. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I like a little bit of that. You get him on there.
You would watch Dancing with Stars, wouldn't you? Yes. Under the cover of, the baby's up. And then you're like... Yeah, I know how that works. The guilty TV pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm just putting the baby to sleep. TV happened to be on. I know how that works.
I feel that.
Well, that's been a fun one. If you're if you're watching us right now, do us a favor, give us a like and a share, and all that kind of stuff goes a long way. And definitely follow us on the YouTube channel. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff coming in. Most of them are going to be on, obviously, Facebook as well, but not as a podcast. It's going to be in video format on Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that, and our Twitter accounts as well. And Anan over here, he's the youngster in the group somehow, and he's in charge of our TikTok account. So tell us about the TikTok account, Anan.
I mean, listen, who doesn't use TikTok? I catch Tim watching TikToks all night. He's up there watching all the Sturridge. He's always like, how do I do the Sturridge? Guys, get on our TikTok, man, American Scouser. We post all the stuff that you see here. We're also going to be posting like pre-match and post-match, just discussions, and we'd love to have your opinions too. We'll post them on there. We kind of just want to make it a big community of all the American Scousers. Everybody that's out here will get on that page, and we'll just have so much fun. Talk, discuss, and then hopefully during the season we'll come out to different, places where you guys are meeting in pubs, and we'll talk to you and we'll post your videos. So listen, TikTok is where it's at. Follow us on TikTok at American Scouser. make sure you give us a follow, give us a like, and watch our content, man. We're trying to make it special. We're one big family, and we're just trying to grow the family even bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that's what American Scouser has done to me. It has introduced me to more weird social media things like TikTok, like Twitter, and stuff like that. I don't know if I should be thankful for that or not, but time will tell. Time will tell. TikTok is a dangerous hole. I find it like YouTube, where you can just fall in and just keep going down the drain.
I'll give you a great example. I was on TikTok the other day and I wrote Liverpool strikers, and then a video of Robbie Fowler came out, and then for 2 hours I kept scrolling and nothing else came up. Nothing. Like it just said no valid strikers available. And then I kept scrolling. I'm like, guys, come on, we haven't had a single striker since Robbie Fowler, and I kept scrolling. Nothing. Absolutely. And then boom, a video of Jota came out when he was injured having surgery. So I mean, honestly, it's TikTok is one dangerous rabbit hole. I'm sure Sir Z watched the same videos I watched, because
the good thing is Thiago is in the hospital next.
Yeah,
week.
exactly.
The next bed over, but that's sorry. Chris says Threads. We are actually on Threads.
Threads lasted 4 days and it died.
So we kind of gave up.
I was like, Threads is still up.
Yeah,
I thought they were dead.
So Threads is the Thiago equivalent of social media. It showed up one day and then it vanished. And we don't know what happened next.
But we hear it's great, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. It can go anywhere, it can play anywhere. It just doesn't.
I post on Threads. I hear Schmatke is over there looking for a number 6, but since there's nobody else in there, we haven't signed anybody yet. But you guys have an excellent Wednesday on this hump day. Like I said, the boys will be back tomorrow night, and we will be back Friday morning. Not Monday morning, Friday morning. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.